Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Welcome to the Pathway to CTA. I'm excited to be assisting with this session with this expert Deloitte panel today. My name is Suzanne Ferguson, and I'm the Global Director for the Trailhead Technical Architect Program at Salesforce. And just a bit about the program before we begin, and I'll introduce the panel. The Technical Architect Program is designed to help everyone on their architect journey to increase their Salesforce skills and to be a trusted advisor, and of course to help all our customers achieve successful implementations. I'm asked all the time from people on how they can start their journey, and this session will definitely help answer some of those questions. And with us today, we have Paul Fayle, Principal at Deloitte, Nikunj Doshi, a Senior Manager, and Emily McCowen, a Manager. To start with everyone, let's share a little bit of background about how you got to the CTA program and what your personal journey was like to get there and where you are today. Emily, can you start?
Thanks, Suzanne. Well, I got started in tech at a fairly young age. I used to sit at the age of 15 and build myself little websites in HTML. And then I got a job as a help desk analyst when I was 17. But I didn't think I would actually end up really working in tech. So when I went to university, I studied a business degree. Then after uni, I actually fell into an accidental admin role anyway. So I ended up in tech, even though I wasn't sure I wanted to. Once I learned a little bit more about the different roles in the Salesforce world and found out about what an architect did, that really excited me, and I knew it was something I wanted to pursue. But as soon as I heard about the CTA itself, I was pretty intimidated, and I thought, well, I might be able to be an architect, but I probably won't ever become a CTA. Fast forward, I guess, about a decade, and I've had allies along the way who have helped mentor me along the architect path, and I definitely can see myself as a potential CTA one day. I did give the board a go about a year ago when I was pregnant. While I didn't pass, I don't think I made a complete fool of myself, so I'm keen to try and get back there now that I'm back from maternity leave and dedicate myself again to study.
As you'll see with Nikunj and with Paul, there's just not one path or one journey you'll hear about next on their different paths and their different journey. Nikunj, how about you go next?
Hey, Suzanne. Perfect. So, yeah, this has been a very interesting journey. So I graduated as an electronics and telecom engineer with no interest in coding or IT in general, landed myself a sales role. So as a business development executive, working for a startup and then for a mid-sized company selling IT products and services. And that was my first interaction with Salesforce as an end user. As an end user who was using Salesforce to keep track of my leads and opportunities on my day-to-day and plan my day out. And that's where I kind of knowingly, unknowingly fell in love with Salesforce. And it came full circle when I switched from sales role I went into more of an MNC, got trained myself into object-oriented programming, landed myself on a Java project. And that's when I realized there's another project going in the same floor, which is a Salesforce project. And I was like, oh, wow, I know this thing. I actually enjoyed this thing. I know how powerful this is and how it can transform. And that triggered me to go walk up as a graduate to my group project manager then and asked me to switch me to Salesforce. And that started my journey. I landed myself a Salesforce role. I felt in love with all the technical development aspect of a platform in terms of your coding and building different things. So it was for me like kind of an art of like creation, kind of an art of creation. That's how I looked at it. So really enjoyed my role as a developer, progressed towards a technical lead, now working as a technical architect, and cracked my CTA last December. So that's a bit brief about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikunj. That's great. And Paul, I'll let you go next.
Hi, Suzanne. Well, look, I'm a bit different again, and I came from a background originally in law, but I've done a bit of everything over a couple of decades now. So I've been in consultancy, I've been client side, and I've been vendor side, so including a stint with Salesforce. And now I'm back with consulting. But I built my architectural knowledge gradually. And I learnt by doing my whole career. So I was not technical originally, obviously, coming from a legal background, but increasingly I acquired technical knowledge and experience as I went, and it was always an element that was necessary to the work I was doing. Salesforce really called out to me as a platform of choice, and it did because the speed with which you can achieve a business outcome on the platform was amazing to me, coming from older technologies. And the level of constant innovation, I think that also hooks a lot of people. So really it was those two things that really got me into the platform originally.
That's great. That's not uncommon to have people from different backgrounds and different experiences. So Nikunj, what did you find the most valuable since you just became a CTA recently? And a CTA, for those that don't know, a certified technical architect. What did you find most valuable in assisting you in your journey to get to become a CTA?
Yeah, one thing for sure to begin with is there are no shortcuts in this journey. There is no substitute for knowledge and experience. So my strategy for this particular exam was planning way ahead and preparing all throughout the journey with practical and pragmatic approach. So so just for example, I made switch to a company like Deloitte, which gives me exposure to enterprise scale projects where I am able to put the knowledge that I acquire in practice. If not in my project, then in some other project that is happening in a wider consultancy like Deloitte, and also gave me a chance to be mentored and be coached by legends like Paul Fayle, who have been on this journey, who understand and appreciate the value of this journey, and are there for you in terms of giving directions and supporting you throughout the journey. So those were the key things that worked for me. And apart from that is, yeah, like try and seek experience and hands-on experience. If not by your own self in your own project, then reach out to wider folks in your practice, or else go outside geographies and make study buddies all across the globe. So I ended up like studying alongside like 10, 20 others, awesome individuals from all across the globe. And that was the kind of an Ohana spirit. So tap into the every resource. And yeah, there's a lot out there on the web. So that was another thing which I did. Google CTA and consumed everything that I could get my hands on, and learned a lot and grown a lot in this journey. And it is helping a lot in my day-to-day as in my role of technical architect, Salesforce consultant. Yeah. So those would be my few tips or something like that.
That's great. Thank you. I love the fact that all three of you are at different stages. You know, Paul's been a CTA for a while, Nikunj, you're just recent CTA, and Emily's on the journey. So Emily, in the tech industry in general, and especially Salesforce architects, you know, we're beginning to see more and more women in our workshops, in the journey to CTA. How do you think we can encourage more women, to take on the architect journey?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that I've seen changing as well, but it takes time, right? It's a long journey to go on the path to CTA. I think one thing that I've noticed is it's one thing to learn the technical knowledge that you need and get the experience that you need, but it's another thing, again, to take an exam and to validate that knowledge. I know that exams can be quite challenging and intimidating for people, but I feel like it's not a bad thing. I think we should feel confident to stretch ourselves and to prove to ourselves that we can measure up against the best of the best. As we get more CTAs who are women, that I think raises the profile as well, so women can see other women succeeding, and as that saying goes, when you can see it, you can be it. I know that's definitely helped me along my journey as well, to see other women who are like me. I think it also really helps when allies who maybe are already CTAs seek out and sponsor talented women that they come across in the ecosystem who are interested in pursuing CTA. And I've definitely had some of that help here at Deloitte. And then finally, I think it's a little bit about learning about yourself and committing to doing something for you. I'm a mum, and I know how incredibly hard it is to find time to dedicate to all of the study that you need to undertake when you've got families that depend on you. But I think that if CTA is something that is important to you, then you can find a way.
That is great, Emily. I agree. I think the women in the ecosystem today that are CTAs are giving back as well. So that's exciting. And definitely, continue on your path. We're all here to help you. So please reach out if you have any questions. Well, with that, Paul, can you help us explain how Deloitte helps people on their path to becoming a certified technical architect? And what should someone do if they're interested in the path?
Okay, so firstly, I think the first thing is you really need to make sure that your executive give full support to your program. So that's one thing that we've arranged here. So there's support and funding for the program. It's absolutely vital. It's a big commitment from all concerned. So we have a CTA Bootcamp program here. It involves a series of mock boards, and that's usually delivered by one or more CTA coaches. And the initial criteria really to getting into that program was that you had to satisfy the prerequisites, so the system and application architect prerequisites, and you had to be interested. You had to put your hand up. What I realised, though, pretty quickly is that there is a difference between saying you're committed to the investment of time and effort and actually being invested in it. So what we do now as a bit of a stage gate check is we wait for a personal plan to be drafted by the candidate, which we then work on together and tweak together, because everyone will have different commitments and a different cadence to approaching this. So we work on that together before we actually start working on the process in earnest. And I think the other thing that the program offers is that we try to get as wide a variety of coaches as possible. So yes, definitely CTAs, and we have more now to choose from, which is fantastic. But really, any senior architect who will challenge and test your thinking, it's a valuable interaction to be having. So I'm increasingly seeing that there are study groups sort of popping up around CTA aspirants, not just within Deloitte, but working with architects from other organisations as well quite often. And I see that works really, really well. We also have a number of local CTAs, as I said, who will participate as judges, and we incorporate Ben Edwards, who's a CTA from our New Zealand practice as well. He's been regularly assisting with mock judging and coaching. One additional thing that we've worked into the program now more recently is that beyond doing our internal checks to ascertain readiness for the board, we also now incorporate a check with Salesforce, so a Diagnostic Check 602, and that's to have that final sort of independent view that yes, the candidate is ready to attempt the board. Obviously there's no guarantee of passing, but it's great to have that sort of independent validation that the candidate is ready to attempt the board. And that's it in summary.
Great. Well, thank you all very much. It was great chatting with you, as always, about the journey and the pathway to CTA.